Welcome back to another episode of Divine Journey 2. In the last episode, we made this RF2's builder that's going to act as our quarry. And in between episodes, I also upgraded our shape card from the normal quarrying card to the silk quarry. And pretty much I just did that because it's going to be easier to filter all the ores into drawers and whatnot. And this wasn't too bad to craft. It was just two nether stars and some enchanted books, which was not too shabby. But today, I think we're actually going to set it up in the deep dark. But to actually get this portal, it's a little challenging. Mainly this quantum disk, but the quintuple compressed obsidian I actually set up down here. Just have a compacting drawer with a stonework factory and an igneous extruder that I upgraded. And I basically just AFK'd here and waited for the cobble to build up. So that's taken care of. The dark steel's easy, it's just this quantum disk that's the hard part. So to actually get this quantum disk, we need to progress a little in the quests into quantum flux. The first thing we're going to make is this dark stone. Next up, we need to make this industrial grade graphite ore, which is just dark stone, some graphite bars, which is just smelted coal, and some hop graphite in the alloy smelter. Next up, we need to take our pulverized graphite dust, which just put in the enrichment chamber, and we actually have to blow it up with some TNT. That's gonna get us our hyper diamonds. Next up, we need one qubit crystal, which takes the hyper diamond and some other alloys. We also need to make two advanced circuits, which just take some violet alloy, some ender crystals that we get from the mob farm, and these estimation circuits that we made before with the clathrates. And if we combine that with some darkstone and some crystalline brown slime, we can make our quantum disk. Now that we have our quantum disk, we can make our deep dark portal. To actually power our builder, we're going to make some RF Tools power cells because they're cheap enough for right now, and eventually we'll probably upgrade to dimensional transceivers or whatnot. But for right now, I'm just going to make two of these, and we also need these power cell cards to actually link them. Alright, now that we're in the deep dark, I set up our quarry, and I just have this conduit here to limit the power for right now, since we're only doing 4,000. This only does 640, so it's going to be limited for a bit before we get better power. But I basically have a buffer chest, some item conduits, and then a drawer wall that eventually is going to get filled up. But to actually set up our quarry, the shape card, we're just going to void everything for now, besides the actual ores. And I believe the max this can do is 512 by 256 by 512, if I remember correctly. Okay, I've set up the shape card to only mine below Y70, and because that's where all the ores spawn. I don't think anything spawns above 70. I had a look in JI, pretty sure, but if we activate this, eventually, once it finds something other than stone, it should appear in the chest. Alright, I waited for a little bit, and it looks like we're getting ores. Now that we have a bit of a quarry up and running, it's time to progress further in the tech line, and to do that, we need these iron casings, which just take some machine frames, some iron plates, and 2 blocks of black quartz. And we need 2 of them for the atomic reconstructor, as well as the empowerer, and we also need some other stuff too. To actually make our atomic reconstructor, we need this materializer, and we actually need mineral wood. But the problem is mineral wood does not spawn naturally in the world, so we actually have to craft the mineral sapling, and that just takes some mithril and a hyper diamond, and obviously a sapling. Next up, to actually get our atomic reconstructor, we need to make this materializer, and that actually requires the variable store, which take these blocks of crystallized mineral, which you have to make in the smeltery. And then to actually get this resin, you can actually just put the logs in the fluid transposer, and it'll give 1,000. So that's pretty useful. But anyways, here's our variable store. Here's our materializer. And finally, here's our atomic reconstructor. Okay, now that we have our atomic reconstructor, we need 7 different resources from that. And I've set it up here. There's power coming in from the back, and I used a redstone torch on this just to turn it off so it doesn't always activate. And the resources we have to drop are coal, iron, gold, redstone, diamond, emerald, and finally lapis. Also, using our atomic reconstructor, we can throw blocks of quartz to get aesthetic quartz and chiseled quartz blocks to get aesthetic green blocks. For our display stands, we need some of these advanced coils, which are just basic coils, which are the brown slime ingots and the Inori crystals, surrounded by the Glod crystals, which is just gold. We also need some of these double batteries, which is just, it's a single battery with an advanced coil. That's easy. And then another advanced coil and some emeradic to upgrade it to double. That's also pretty simple. Okay, I've gathered up everything for our 7 display stands, as well as the empowerer, and these gold casings that are required for the display stands are quite expensive, since it takes the machine cases from Tesla Core, and we have to go down all this rabbit hole of crafting, and it was not fun. But auto crafting is on the horizon. I've very primitively set up our empowerer. It's just powered by an HV line I ran over. So the way this is going to work right now, since it's very primitive, this setup's only going to work with one crystal type at a time, which kind of sucks, but that's the way it has to be for now. Okay, I've also gathered up all the materials for the crystals. We only need 1 of right now, which is Void, Redstonia, Palace, and Inori. And Void just takes the Void Crystal, Dark Bimetal Gear, Charcoal, Flint, and Invar gear. And in a second, we should have Empowered in the other crate. Yep. And then for Redstonia, it's just Redstonia Crystal, Signalum Gears, Bricks, Redstone Alloy, and Infernal Bulbs. For Palace, it's just Palace, Lead Gear, Prismarine Shard, Enderium Gear, and a Moonglow Leaf. And for Inori, it's just the Inori Crystal, Steel Gear, Snow, Silicon, and Iron Gears. The main 3 empowered materials we need are Emeradic, Diamantine, and what's the other one? And Glod. And the reason we need this is for the crystal bundles, which we have to run through the Empower again to get the empowered version. And then we need to atomic reconstruct that to actually get Elevatium, which is the whole point of this Empower right now. And this is going to unlock the next stage of progression. It's required in a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to try and gather a stack of all the materials, and I'll be back. Also, in between those cuts, I made both the plant gatherer and the plant sower from District 4 going. And this is farming all the crops we actually need for the empowered materials. And all the resources from that get imported into this drawer wall. And we're farming spirit herbs, moonglow leaves, stalactites, infernal bulbs, cloudberries, and periska right now. And there's room for 3 more, but I'm not sure what else we need yet. Okay, I've gathered up everything for a stack of empowered emeradic crystals. It just takes emeradic crystals, vibrant bimetal gears. That took a long time to make because I had to make a whole bunch of alloys and stuff. Green slime blocks, we're farming that. Cactus, we're farming, and spirit herbs, we're farming. I've gathered up the materials for our empowered diamantine, and that's just diamantine crystals, clay blocks, vivid alloy, cloudberries, and platinum gears. The last resource we have to make in bulk is empowered glod, and that's just glod crystals, energized bimetal gears, wild wheat, blaze rods, and lumium gears. Now that we have our empowered materials, we need to throw it through the alloy smelter to actually get our crystal bundles. Now that we have our crystal bundles, we need to empower them. That's just crystal bundles and 4 solidified experience. The final step to actually get our Elevatium ingots is to throw this empowered crystal bundle on top of the empower. And there's our first pieces of Elevatium. Now that we have our Elevatium ingots, we have unlocked Chapter 13. And the main thing in Chapter 13 is this Iridium, which is going to finally allow us to get into some interfaces and auto crafting, as well as the rainbow generator and a few other things. But to actually start out, we need to make these cosmic alloys, which take the Elevatium. To actually get our iridium, we need to progress a little more through mechanism, and that involves getting the thermal evaporation tower multi-block set up. And the casings require some bricks, some copper plates, and some Elevatium. The valves take the cosmic alloy and the casings. And finally, for the evaporation controller, it's just the casings, 2 quantum disks, and 1 cosmic alloy. Next thing we're going to make is the resistive heater. Another machine we need for our lithium dust production is the chemical crystallizer, and that just takes some electrical steel, some ultimate control circuits, some ultimate gas tanks, 2 of these cosmic alloys, and an enhanced machine chassis. So we need 2 thermal evaporation multi-blocks, 1 for water to brine, and then the only use actually, I guess for right now, we could just directly pipe the brine into the second one, and then we just have to run that through a rotary condensator to get the gas version, and then that has to go into the chemical crystallizer to actually get lithium. And it also looks like we need this for tritium as well. To actually set this up, it's a 4x... I only have enough for 4x3, I think. That's what the quest wanted. But basically, it's just casings all around the side. And we need a couple valves as well. 1 for heat and 1 for the actual liquid. And then the controllers. And then we basically just go up. And there's 1. And to actually turn water into brine, we need a lot of heat. And to do that, we're going to use this resistive heater, which basically just takes RF and converts it to heat. The way I have this set up, there's an inner fluid conduit here, and that can handle multiple fluids at once, which is nice. So we can kind of cheat and save on valves and just use 2. So there's an unending bowl of water down there, and that gets extracted on green and goes into this thermal evaporation block. The water gets turned into brine, gets extracted on the brown channel, and goes into this thermal evaporation multi-block, and that gets turned into lithium and gets extracted on blue, and then it just gets inserted into this rotary condensator on blue as well, and then the lithium just gets turned into the gas form, and all you have to do is just add a chemical crystallizer below this. Alright, so lithium gets extracted by the tubes and goes into the crystallizer, and there's our lithium dust. And to actually make this faster, we need to give this more power, but we're kind of limited a little on that right now. We're only doing about 4K from that diesel generator. I probably will have to add another one before we get to the rainbow generator, but we'll see. now that we have lithium, I think I'm gonna end it here. So next episode, I think we're gonna get to working towards steaming redstonia as well as the laser drill for iridium, and that's gonna eventually lead us into AE automation, which will be pretty useful. But yeah, that being said, thanks for watching.